today we're going to be going through just the process of prepping and working on a baby food cherry puree. So right now in the heart of cherry season, you can get cherries for something like $1.50 a pound, which is amazingly low prices. So you generally want to buy a bunch and process them. One way to do that is cherries as a puree in baby food. It can be frozen or it could be canned, but easily stored for later in the year when your baby will be using it. It's a great way to add a little bit of sweetness to any other more bland foods, but it's not nearly as sweet as, say, some of the other fruits out there, like, say, strawberry, stuff like that. So there is some nice things that have that little bit of different variety there. As we've got here, we've got our cherries, which I've just done a real quick rinse with a little bit of baking soda added to the water to help strip any potential stuff on the surface of the cherry. So you're going to want to just kind of use this process with a colander next to you. You know, scoop up a handful of cherries, kind of making a slight, closing of the hand to kind of hold them there, and then pull the stems. Of course, don't cast them into your good pile. Put them beside that. And then this is just going to be the time when you're going to want to go real quickly and look over the general shape and of the cherries. You can see this one's a little bit softer, might have had a cut there from harvest, so it's more chance to mold. So you want to just set that one aside. But you'll just kind of keep doing this until you get all of your cherries out of your baking soda water solution. Periodically here, you'll want to just run a little bit of water over the top of the cherries. Make sure you're rinsing off everything that would be there. Once you have that done, we're going to move to this. This is basically, we'll take these cherries and dump them into another container. So have a couple of those sitting around. I recommend something more a little bit disposable because of cherry juice tendency to stain plastics. Just be careful of your prep area. You don't want to ruin any of your nice displayware or anything like that accidentally. So now that we've got our cherries in a clean state, we're going to come over here and we're going to come to probably the hardest part and also the most critical part, the pitting, the removing of the cherry stone. Now, the stone in the cherry is going to be the biggest hazard, depending on whether you use these in the future. Obviously, a pretty severe choking hazard. So you're going to want to line up your cherry pitter. We have a kind of a cheating mechanical one. You want to line it up right on top of the stem there and just press through. So you can see the pit comes through the bottom. I recommend working over kind of either a metal or a glass dish that you can hear that pit hit the bottom, emptying it frequently. If you don't hear that, obviously you're just going to want to take your thumb and just kind of open up that pit hole a little bit. You'll easily feel if the stone is still in there. And every cherry is a little bit different. A lot of times these cherry pitters have nice grooves designed to catch and push that pit through, but every once in a while it'll glance off or it'll split the pit and you'll have shards in there. So that's just the one thing that you'll want to really be careful about as you're working through this. I highly recommend, so you can kind of see there something weird happened. It didn't quite push the pit all the way through, kind of slipped off of it. That can happen with different varieties of ripeness and shape. But one thing, again, recommend some gloves because this is more than likely going to stain your fingers. Keep your dishes close. And now we've got our pitted prepared cherries. From this point, depending on how concerned you are with the pits, if you've been doing a really careful job so far, you can take these right to a food processor or something to start making your puree. Otherwise, you can go through and actually open them up with just a paring knife and just kind of verify that they're all good. With that, we'll check back in with you once we start making our puree. All right, so if you don't have a cherry pitter or you're more concerned with the thickness of the cherry skin, one way to remove those, it is a little bit more work, but basically what you want to do is you want to take a nice little X in the bottom of it like that, and then you'll want to blanch these in boiling water for, I would say, about a minute to 2 minutes, basically long enough to where this skin will actually detach and it'll be very easy to peel. You can already see that it isn't too bad there, it comes off in pieces, but it's just like a tomato skin in the fact that when you do that short blanch, put them in that cold water, this whole skin will come off in one big piece. So that'll prevent any potential choking hazards. That's kind of a decision you have to make. Consult your doctor or pediatrician if you think the cherry skins are going to be a problem in the baby food. Depends on how good your food processor is, and kind of look at it that way. Once you've blanched these, they will be softer, so ideally you'll just be able to open them up with your thumb and remove that pit. So that's kind of how you do your stone removal with that. All right, we've got our cherries right here. They've been pitted, they've been de-stoned. We still left the skins on. I know depending on different people's viewpoints, you'll either remove the cherry skin or you'll leave it on. These ones have just gone through a short boil just to soften them up and kind of sanitize them before we move them to our food processor. We've just got a Ninja here to puree them and basically turn them into the fine cherry puree here that we're going to store in these canning jars. Now you can can this, you can do a number of different things. We're going to freeze ours, so that's why we've got these jars here only filled to about 80% of capacity, allow for some room for expansion. Now you'll obviously want to take this once you start to use it, and you'll actually break it into different recipes or amounts, but the idea being you don't want to lock up a bunch of small jars that you might use later, so we're just going to store it in one big one. With that, we hope you subscribe to the channel and hit like if you found this video useful. Also check out some of our other content.